name's Lauren Faits. I write the Chicago Now blog, Geek Girl Chicago. And to find it, you can just go to chicagonow.com and search Geek. I'm also Geek Girl Chicago on Facebook and Twitter.
Did anyone really ask for a Flash Gordon sequel?
I know one guy. Okay, two guys. I know two guys who are such big Flash Gordon fans that they would want that. I have no idea. I've never seen it, and I'm sorry.
It is quite possibly the cheesiest, most overproduced movie to ever come out of Hollywood in the 80s, but it is all kinds of awesome.
It's just fun. Queen does this whole soundtrack.
Yeah, Queen singing. Awesome. It's batshit crazy.
Who wants to live forever?
No, that's Highlander.
There can be only one.
Oh, that is Highlander.
Derp.
Also Queen though.
Yeah, also Queen. But it's all about the set designs and the costumes, and it's crazy. The acting is terrible. It's just everything about it is just really, really bad, but it's charming and it's fun, and it's just I could watch that any day of the week. I could just throw that on.
So the movie coming out, is it actually Flash Gordon 2?
Yeah, they're actually saying that they were. Well, what's his name? Steven Sommers, who did The Mummy and Van Helsing. He was talking about 10 years ago he was going to do a reboot of it, a remake. And then a
reboot's different.
But now Universal came out and they says, yeah, we're going to start bringing back some of our old franchises and we're just going to flat out make a sequel. I'm like, yeah, that movie was made in 1980.
I didn't know it was happening until about 30 minutes ago. So I'm still really.
I think I read about it 2 weeks ago. I was on Cinema Blend and they were like, Universal has started talking about we're going to make a sequel to Flash Gordon because they're like that franchise is just sitting there gathering dust. Why not use it?
Right.
Because you don't have to reuse every franchise.
That's
you
the
don't
thing.
have to.
Yeah.
It's not a rule. God.
But they see potential in it. I mean, I'll see it. Don't get me wrong, I'll watch it. But I mean, did it really need to be made?
But yeah, if they can make the Flash Gordon like we were talking about the Evil Dead, if they can keep that campiness and that kind of unintentional goofiness to it,
sense of humor.
Yeah,
well, that's the thing is, have you seen Jupiter Ascending at all? It is basically a modern day Flash Gordon.
Oh, is it?
That's exactly when I walked out of that theater. I said I just watched a remake of Flash Gordon. It is cheesy and goofy, but it's a whole lot of fun, and people are just not giving it any respect. I don't understand. I think they're expecting the new Matrix, and it is nothing like the Matrix. No. Nothing. It is silly and goofy and cheesy.
Does he keep his clothes on?
Not really. There's a whole section in the middle where he's walking around, and there's bees flying around him, and he's just check out the ass.
Oh, they tried. I'll say they usually,
as a female, can I just say it's about time? Because
they're waiting to striptease, showgirls that
not just for Magic Mike, but just Jupiter Ascending. I had some guys see that movie and they were like, "Oh, his shirt was off for so much, so distracting." I'm like, "Really?"
They did that for the ladies.
I know, in every film, for historically, women in bikinis and bras all over the place. Bros, if you're gonna take a shirt off, it's only fair. Jeez. Oh my god, the guy had his top off. Yeah! Welcome to my entire presence as a gender in cinema. For heaven's sake.
Promise you're not gonna squeal like a girl.
If they can make a Flash Gordon sequel that is the way that they did Jupiter Ascending, where it's fun and it's silly, but it's cool too. There's really lots of cool tech in that movie. I want those freaking zero gravity roller skates. Those were the shit. But yeah, I mean, if they could do Flash Gordon 2 like that, I'd be all with it.
I expected Tron to be a reboot, and it was a sequel.
It was a flat-out sequel.
The new one was great to watch. It didn't feel, to me, anything like the original.
No. Which I think was good, because if you if you haven't watched the original in a long time, you go back and watch it, you're like,
But it's charming.
But yeah, it's got if you like Tron, you'll love Flash Gordon. It's basically the same thing.
Fair.
I hope they go with that whole storyline of everything from the computer world coming out into reality, which they set up at the end of the last one, which I think would be rad as hell. Because we've seen the grid, we know what it's like, we know what it looks like, we know the rules. Okay, how does that all work in the real world now? So
I almost imagine that's what it'd have to be about without getting super redundant.
Yeah.
Well, it's just time to push the idea forward.
Yeah. And it'll probably cost less money.
Yeah.
Because that entire movie is basically one giant green screen.
Jeff Bridges hologram kind of thing and making him young kind of thing.
Oh, the clue and all that. Yeah. That kind of worked and it kind of didn't.
Yeah. Well, no, it's one of those things it was the first that we've seen of that kind of been done. Now the new Terminator's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now like musicians that are doing it on stage, like Tupac, they had a hologram
Oh,
of Tupac.
yeah.
It's kind of just the first time that we're seeing this, and it's only going to get better, which I'm totally against. Well, I just don't want to see them bringing like John Wayne in a movie John Wayne would have never done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just like you're just shitting on his legacy and like what he stood for during the time that he was in film and being a
and
hero for kids and stuff.
there's something odd about even Tupac hologram, like you're mentioning. It's non-consensual.
Yeah.
Because it can't possibly be a consensual appearance
Right.
from someone.
Yeah, like he had
who
a
is
contract that says,
dead.
in the future you can make a hologram of me if you really want
Right.
to.
And so it's weird to be like, oh,
'Cause then you're
after you die,
We're gonna
someone could just still decide what shows you're
right,
gonna
like
do.
you're owned by somebody, your image and just like,
Yeah, someone else is making money off of his image now.
yeah,
It's weird.
me being dead, you know,
Yeah.
it's like and it's not my family that's making the money. You know, like it's somebody who owned the right.
Coachella made out like a bandit.
Yeah.
One of the big issues with modern reboots or sequels is recapturing whatever it was that made the original cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's so popular now to make like a gritty, edgy reboot, but if you do that, it's not the original then.
Mm-hmm.
Flash Gordon doesn't sound like it was gritty or edgy or badass.
There was nothing dark about it.
Right, and so the sequel better be that. If you tried to come out with like a let's bring it back but make it cool, people were going crazy over the that Power Rangers film that came out a couple of weeks ago, and it was okay, but I don't think it didn't resonate with me like it resonated with a lot of people because it was too dark and gritty and edgy, and I loved Power Rangers as a kid. Because it was campy and, like, rubber suit, like, weird. And just to try to tell me to take it seriously, nope.
There's also talk of a Spaceballs sequel, which they were talking about when the first movie came out. And then I remember, like, when I was in high school, which was, like, the early 90s, they were saying there was going to be, like, a movie called Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2, which I thought was really funny as hell.
Funny.
That is awesome. But then that never happened.
So, from every title on this list, I find Spaceballs 2 the most surprising, and honestly, like, I love that movie. It is hilarious, but it's the most unnecessary, because Spaceballs was a parody, it was a commentary on Star Wars. And as much as there was an original story in there and original characters, it was just making fun of Star Wars, you know? And so to say we need more of like a parody movie is odd. I've never heard anything like that before.
Yeah. I mean, they made that cartoon that was on for like 3 episodes, like 5 years ago or something like that. And I don't think it was all that great. But Mel Brooks said that because of all the hype with the new Star Wars movie coming out, he says now is like the perfect time. Mm-hmm. He can also make fun of the prequels if he wants to in there.
It's fair.
So I'm like, all right, for that, with that in mind, I was like, okay, I'm okay with that.
Whatever's gonna keep him alive.
The fact that he's coming out of retirement to do it, I think is kind of awesome. You know, he hasn't made a movie since.
Well, him and his partner are both still alive. Like his writing partner, they're still both.
Really?
You know, they're like 90, almost 90 years old.
He's pretty up there.
So whatever keeps them alive and keeps them doing stuff. Because I love those guys. Those movies and their, just his ability to write clean but not clean. Like, you know, it's just kind of, I don't know. It's very clever.
Well, I've always respected him for not going the scary movie route where it's like all just gross out jokes and stuff like that. It's actually smart humor.
Yeah, and it's all real quick.
Yeah.
And you'll pick it, like, still today, you watch Blazing Saddles and there'll be things I forgot.
The movie's rough, but goddamn is it funny.
Yeah.
Hey, where are the white women at?
There's some jokes that, like, you don't ever notice until, like, the 9th time you see it. And you're like, oh, like, that joke plays on this other, okay, that's cool.
Mango only pawn in game of life.
I'm excited for Spaceballs. That's another one I didn't know until about
And I gave up on
30
those
minutes
kind of parody movies after, like, the glut of, like, the scary movies and
once
superhero movies and all
Another
that kind of
teen
crap.
movie.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
I haven't seen too many of those, but those very quickly stopped being about genre parody and more like
everything.
The whole
yeah,
year.
what current events and movies came out in the past year and a half? Quick, throw them into my movie, and then they're not relevant.
Yeah.
Spaceballs is still relevant.
It stayed within its genre.
Because it's timeless. The jokes and the stuff that they were commenting on is still cool. If you watch, Not Another Teen Movie or whatever, I don't even remember half the movies it's parodying.
You want to see Mel Brooks bring it back in the right way, though, if he does it.
Yeah, my daughter's 2, so by the time this movie comes out, she'll almost be 3. So she doesn't watch TV, but it may be something that she may enjoy. Because growing up, I watched Spaceballs every day on VHS. I had it I recorded it off the TV on a VHS and owned the VHS. Like, it was one of my favorites. It was one of those movies, one of the first movies that was clever, but like I got it. I could understand it.
Tell them to comb the desert, do you hear me? Comb the desert!
There were some movies that were out that, like, me and my dad would watch, like The Burbs. And, like, my dad just cracked up the whole time, And,
See, I didn't get that movie when I saw it back in the day.
Yeah, and I just didn't get it. I was like, I like hearing my dad laugh, so I'll watch it with him. And I like Tom Hanks. But then you get older, you watch something like that, and you're like, that's really funny. I see why he was cracking up, But, like, Spaceballs was one of those first movies that I just got. Like, I just understood. And
Spaceballs does a lot for kids.
Yeah.
I mean, even just Dark Helmet, wearing a giant helmet.
Yeah.
If you're 3, that's funny.
Yeah.
That is just funny. That dude's wearing a giant
and
helmet.
it's like a tiny little guy,
Yeah.
that looks completely like, why? Well, okay, he needs to wear that to look imposing because he's a dork.
Yeah.
What about you guys? We ain't found shit.
And now Kevin Smith is talking about making a sequel to Mallrats after he does his Canada trilogy.
Yeah,
I guess.
Supposed to be a trilogy. He's got one more to do.
Yeah, he's doing Yoga Hosers right now. And then he's got one more movie, and then he's doing Clerks 3, and then Mallrats 2. I could see where, like, a sequel to Clerks worked in, because it revisits them 20 years later. They're still basically doing the same shit.
Yeah.
But, like, malls really aren't a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone shops online. Are they going to be hanging out at, like, the Amazon headquarters? Is that what it's going to be?
Well, then that may be... you may have just hit it on the head. It may be them trying to save malls. They're going to be superhero mall savers.
Yeah, okay.
They're going to go around and save the strip malls.
That's a legitimate question, though. Like, what is the equivalent today? Where are the kids hanging out? Because I don't know.
I don't
go
either.
to movie theaters anymore.
No.
I don't know. What is a thing? What, chat room?
Yeah.
That's not even a thing anymore.
I know.
We're already past that.
Yeah.
I know kids put
Snapchat.
vodka in their eyeballs. Like, that's a thing.
I don't know. It's like everyone's got their faces buried in their phone, and they do everything online nowadays. So I haven't been to a mall in years.
I go to a mall once a year to Christmas shop.
Exactly.
And usually I go and get overwhelmed and then go home and just buy everything online. But I try once a year.
It's all about effort. You gotta put the effort
There's a
in.
strip mall by where I work, but I just go there for the restaurants. I don't go there to go shopping or anything like that. So malls aren't really a thing anymore. It's just like everything's a strip mall or
That's
it's online.
such a good thought. Like, what is that movie gonna be about?
Yeah. I mean, back in, like, the mid-90s? Okay, yeah, malls were a thing. I went to the mall every damn day when I was a kid like that.
Yeah.
But
Go to the arcades in the mall.
Yeah.
Play video games.
come on, theater, all that kind of stuff, the pizza place. Yeah. I mean, but nowadays that's not even a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's going to be an odd one.
Yeah. I mean, it's Kevin Smith. If anyone can make something out of nothing, it'll be Kevin. But yeah, it's just strange that he went from retirement. I was like, I'm done with it all, and then now he's just pounding them out and coming up with new ideas. I don't know if just something happened in his life that...
I think he was getting so much crap. And he also got disillusioned because of making, what was that, Cop Out? Bruce Willis was like his hero as growing up, and then he actually worked with him and he turned out to be a douche.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that he got really burnt out on filmmaking because that just kind of killed it for him. And he was like, all right, I'll make this one last movie. He did Red State, and then everybody loved it.
Yeah,
and now it's like, bam.
Like, oh, okay. Yeah.
He did
so
Tusk,
maybe
and because he said Tusk was what revitalized his interest in making movies again.
Yeah.
You can have them like go to like there's going to be a reunion of all those people from that movie, and they want to go and hang out at the mall. They go there, and it's like a parking lot.
Yeah.
That's the shortest movie ever.
It's only used for like fireworks sales yearly. And a haunted house. And other than that, it's just empty the rest of the year.
Yep.
There's like one nail salon.
Yeah. If they could get all the original cast and to play their age now, and they kind of just fill in what's been going on.
Can they get Ben Affleck to come back though? Can they?
Probably.
I'm sure.
Probably.
He's Batfleck.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he
seems to be cool about everything.
Yeah, he seems to be the type who will do something for the love of it or for the joke, If you're like, man, come back and do this Mallrats thing, he'd be like, That's stupid.
He was in
but
Clerks 2 for
alright.
no reason. He was like,
Yeah.
yeah, do it. Yeah, okay, I'm in the town for the weekend. Psh,
Yeah,
let's
I mean,
shoot
him
this.
and Kevin are really. I mean, when
They used to be close.
yeah, when the Batman thing came out, when everyone was dogging him, like Kevin was backing him up.
Well, he let
you know?
Kevin come onto the set to check it out to see if it got like geek approval.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Smith was like,
Yeah, so like I think with just the support and stuff that Kevin's always had for him, I wouldn't see why he wouldn't come back.
That's kind of one more fun thing to talk about reboots, right? Is do the cast members still get along?
Yeah.
And that's to
How
go
they
back
change.
to loop back to the X-Files. My understanding is when Mulder and Scully in real life, so Anderson and Duchovny started working together, they hated one another.
Mm-hmm.
Like their relationship on screen, like that tension was real because they didn't like one another. And now they want to come back and do this show again.
they grew up.
Because, yeah, over time, they grew up, they grew close, and now apparently they're really good friends.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to think, like, now they'll shoot more footage with the relationship being completely different than it was, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And so all these things on this list, are the people still friends? Are they even going to enjoy
Are they even
being
willing
on
to
set?
come back?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Will they finish it?
Well, Sigourney Weaver will be like, I'll do it. She said as long as the storyline works and she honestly wants Alien 5 to be like the last one. She's like, as long as we can close it out and just keep it closed, I'm okay with it.
Because that's kind of her baby. I mean, that's what she's known for. I mean, she's awesome.
I mean,
in the first
basically the
one,
reason they made part 4 was because of her.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I really want to do another one. I really do.
Well,
We killed you. What do you want us to do? Clone my ass.
Yeah. Well, it was at a
Okay.
time.
Yeah, there we go.
And it was at a time too where women characters weren't strong and they weren't used in like a hero form.
Well, that's my favorite story about the original Alien.
Yeah.
Is the character of Ripley was written genderless.
Mm-hmm.
The whole script was written with no gender. And so, when it was cast as female, they didn't change anything. They
Right.
just had this genderless hero, and she's
And
awesome.
it kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Was like you basically think Dallas is going to be the hero for
Yeah.
the movie, and it turns out he gets killed. They pull a psycho. They kill him halfway through the movie, and then she ends up taking over, which I always thought was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. Especially when I was a little kid, and you watch this, and it's always like the guy's the hero, and then you see like her pull through and be like, I'm not putting up with this bullshit.
Yeah.
Let's kill this thing.
Well, and like she outsmarts it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what it's not about. Because in guys it's always like bunch of guns and
Yeah. And she didn't
But,
even do that.
No, she just outthinks it and like.
She's like,
just
guess what?
survives.
Airlock. Click.
Yeah, it's just that's cool, and I think I don't think it gets a lot of credit. I mean, I think it gets credit for it being good and being it's Alien, but I don't think a lot of people give it credit for that during the time of giving.
And
giving a
nowadays, like
woman
when
that
like
kind of
there's like
power.
all these these female centric action movies, and the characters aren't nearly as rad
Right.
as Ripley ever was.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Lucy as much as the next guy, but I was like, they're trying, but
Well, because people are still trying to write quote-unquote strong female characters, when in the end, just write a cool person.
Mm-hmm.
That, I mean, I said it already, but Ripley wasn't male or female
Right.
in the script. They just wrote a cool person. So they didn't have to think about sexuality or, like, physical strength in terms of, like, male versus female or, like, feminine wiles of any kind or, like, trying to stay masculine.
she never did any of that kind of
They
stuff. She
just
never,
wrote a
even in
person.
Aliens, she never really was like, to get my way, just,
No.
check
Yeah.
this out. She never did any of that kind of
Just wrote
stuff.
a
It was
cool
just
She was
person.
survive.
fucking kept it real the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, instead of like they say, it's like, all right, well, how would a woman react in this situation? Or
Doesn't
how would a man,
matter.
like,
How
doesn't
would a
matter. Just-
person?
How would a person react?
How's the
Yes.
character? What's the character? How would they do it?
And that's one thing I'll always give that series is they created one of the coolest characters in film.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a badass.
And I'm all for an Alien 5 if they can get her to come back, because that without her the series is nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the backbone of that
What would
whole
be the
thing.
point?
Yeah. So if it was, because I remember Alien 3 was originally, she was not going to be in it at all. It was going to be about Hicks. And,
Boo.
yeah. No.
Game over, man.
You basically. I think that's the closest approximation to that is now we have like Alice from the Resident Evil movies. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. She still has to wear the skin tight
Right, she's still...
bondage suits and shit like that, to sell the tickets, but she's the closest thing to Ed Ripley that you're going to get.
I really liked Sons of Anarchy. When it first started out with Gemma, you had this very strong like woman who was like the matriarch of the family and was basically running it, and no one realized it. and then it just gets to where it's just this thrown in bullshit drama just to have her
soap
cause
opera
problems
crap.
and like it's like you're just destroying this character. Like you're just going. You start out doing something that a lot of shows don't have the guts to do, and then you're just falling into it. Dexter, like Deb, like there's so many cool things you could have did with Deb that they just didn't do. They just made her the drama person who carries on the drama. And it's just like
She's there to cry a lot.
Yeah, and it's
Basically
just
what
like,
she did.
why are you doing that? Like I don't get it, you know. And then then you have Ripley, It's like, see, like you can do that.
There's no crying in alien movies.
Yeah, like you don't have to do that. Like show some fucking balls and go against the grain and give us a powerful, strong woman character that can handle her own, that doesn't need to do all the things that you feel need to be done to make money. Like people will watch it.
Or, on the flip side, you're talking about Deb was on Dexter to cry a lot. Mm-hmm. Let's see a dude who's emotional a lot.
Right. Yeah. That's Daryl Dixon.
Yeah.
I know those guys in real life. Let's see some of them on TV. Take your shirt off and cry.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's Jupiter Ascending 2.
Yeah. Take your shirt off all slow motion, sexy looking to start, and then you also go to Dawson's Creek.
He does this.
Yeah. Cover yourself and don't look.
I'm so vulnerable, but also sexy.
And kind of confident.
And then some guy starts beatboxing in the back, so he's got to dance.
Yeah.
It was secretly Magic Mike all along.
It all goes back to Magic Mike. It all comes full circle. That's awesome.
Hey, how you doing? I know we haven't talked in 15 years. Hey, I have tickets to a movie that everybody's been waiting for. Battlefield Earth 2. What do you say? Me and you get back together. Hello? Hello? Must have AT&T. Hey, Chris? Chris, tickets are still available. Okay. Me and you, girlfriend. So this movie's got everything. John Travolta and dreadlocks and platform shoes. And, it reminds me a lot of The Color Purple with all the Dutch angles and,